Welcome back, guys. This week I've been driving the Toyota Tacoma TRD PRO for 2025. It's got this new mud bath color. Today I'm going to give you a full tour. We're going to take it on the road for a morning commute. And then at the end of the video, we're going to head back to the office, look at some TRD Pros and other Tacomas in the area to talk about maybe what the best trim level is to buy for you guys. And also we'll put it on the spreadsheet to compare it to other cars, trucks, SUVs that I've driven so far in 2025. And is this TRD Pro a good buy? They started around $65,000. I've seen some for around $70,000 online. Let's start with the walk around. I mean, Toyota lettering, we got the light bar, we got the Rigid Industries, fog lights, you got the recovery hooks. You also have the TRD skid plate below. Is this this Honda Fit is about ready to run me over. Good morning, Honda Fit. What about this hood scoop? Is it functional? The answer is, well, you know, it looks more functional here than it did on a TRD Sport that I've reviewed in the past, okay? This has the more premium headlights, daytime running lights here compared to other Tacoma models. Got the massive, I wanna say these are 33-inch tires with the 18-inch TRD Pro wheels. This does have the Fox shocks on it, which are three-way adjustable. Of course, you got the TRD tips on here. These look actually really, really nice. Glossy wheel surrounds, which, you guys, I have hardly driven it this week, and I'll explain why I haven't driven it much this week. Got hit with the sprinkler on the way out here, and you can see just how dirty it gets. Well, you know, I guess the mud bath color, it looks exactly like how the sprinkler water dried on it. You got the sliders there underneath as well, the rock sliders, glossy top of the roof, glossy door handles. Come to the back, more recovery points. We got the ARB metal bumper back here with, you know, the parking sensors, tow hitch receiver, iForce Max. Yes, this is a hybrid. We'll talk more about it. Full-size spare tire underneath. You can see that skid plate underneath the rear differential, which is great as well. All right, we've got the 360 camera on this truck, automated liftgate, big TRD Pro letters there. I want to say this only comes with one bed length, where the Trail Hunter, the flagship model, that has two different bed lengths. This is the shorter bed length on the Tacoma. All right, 2400 watt accessory power, so it'd be great for camping. Underneath here we have a 12 volt and a USB adapter. I've seen what was it, the Trail Hunter that has the inflated tire kit back there, the little air compressor. You got bed lights in here, you got the cleat system too. So even though we have a button on each side to lower the tailgate, it will not raise the tailgate, to my understanding. So the back seat is, well, this is a tough thing for me now because I have kids. I haven't been driving it much this week. I moved this seat really far forward. Toyota came up with their own word for these seats. I want to say they're IsoDynamic seats, something like that. These are meant for Baja racing. The problem is these are standard. This is your only seat option here, and they're super cool, don't get me wrong, but like my kids, you know, they would have to sit back here with their legs up because they just can't fit behind these seats unless I take one, maybe two kids, and I have to move this seat all the way forward, which means I wouldn't be able to take someone in the front seat. So getting in the back seat of this is just, well, it's frustrating. I'm gonna lower this headrest because this rear window is really, really low, and it does have the sliding window here, but the rear window is really, really squished. So these headrests, if you don't have people sitting back here, just take them out because you won't be able to really see behind these seats, all right? Child latches here, you have a small jack, some tools back there as well. And then underneath here is where your hybrid battery is gonna sit. All right, we do have, you know, kind of like these off-roady mats, but assuming that your feet will be able to touch those if you have someone in the back seat. All right, I'm not really worried about materials in the back seat here because the back seat's not very functional. It's more like a closed trunk. All right, let's get under the hood as well. I want to show you guys this powertrain. This is one of the reasons you get this truck. I think, you know, the powertrain is a flex for this class. I've driven the Colorado ZR2 Bison, which is a direct competitor to this in terms of price and capability. But the engine on that truck, the ZR2 Bison, is so anemic with the 35-inch tires that it has. That truck looks amazing, but it just has no go to it because the tires are too big for the powertrain. These 33s, yeah, are no problem to be moved by this 2.4 turbo hybrid with 326 horsepower, 465 pound-feet of torque, made to an 8-speed automatic. You get about 48 horsepower and close to 200 pound-feet of torque just from the electric motor between the engine and the transmission. I like the TRD tubing there on the airbox, the TRD logo. It's pretty darn cool, and you can see it's not a functional hood scoop because you have this big insulation pad underneath the hood, but you know, it looks somewhat functional actually from the front. And you know, if you're buying this truck, looks are going to be extremely important to you. I didn't even mention that this truck is wider. It's lifted, of course, compared to normal Tacomas. I've taken this on off-road tracks at previous Toyota media events. This thing, I've jumped it as well. Like, this truck's incredible for off-road, but most people, when they're buying a $70,000 pickup truck, they're not going to be off-roading it the majority of the time, I would assume. So let's go ahead and get in the front, and then we'll start driving it to see if this is a good vehicle to drive on the streets. All right, we know it's incredible off-road. Well, I'm 6'1". I have really long legs. This truck is not easy to get in. All right, I'm so used to sliding into cars or squatting down into cars and trucks, but this, there's no grab handle. All right, so you almost need to pull yourself in with the steering wheel, which I don't like doing because it moves, right? So it's just not an easy, and then my knee hits here. It's not an easy vehicle to get in and out of. And I can't imagine if you're a short person, what kind of gymnastics you're gonna have to do to get in here. Let's go and turn on the beautiful TRD Pro Tacoma. Fully digital 12-inch screen behind the steering wheel. Toyota's settings here, or should I say how to interact with the screen, it's frustrating every time I get in it. In a car, whether it's a Crown or a RAV4 that has this screen, because look at this, okay? So you can do all this while you're driving for the most part. You can customize 3 different areas of the screen, but check this out. There are also 3 different preset areas that you can display different information on, okay, which is cool. I like the customization. The problem is the customization is frustrating to do here. All right, the fuel economy. Well, when I got in here, the fuel economy, I couldn't find it. All right, you see all these small dots? The fuel economy is hard, like it just wasn't showing up. I'm like, well, I'm a hybrid pickup truck. I kind of want to know what my fuel economy is. Oh, and there you go, it got me out of it. So what you have to do is you go here, but then you go over to the left again, all right, and then you have to click the things that you want to see on here. Okay, drive info, trip A, trip B, all that stuff. You can select whether you want it to show up or not, which is kind of confusing, right? So anyways, it took me a while to figure it out, and it's like this every time I get into a Toyota with this 12-inch screen. It's just confusing, not very intuitive, and I wish it was just simpler. Now, good news for Tacoma fans, the base screen is a 7-inch screen, and that is about as simple and as intuitive and easy to work with and customize as possible. All right, so there you have it. That is standard here on the TRD Pro, as well as this massive 14-inch screen, and look at that glorious Android Auto. Now, I had my phone plugged in to these high wattage ports down here, 45 watts. The problem is they're charging only, all right? So you have to plug into the side of the screen if you want to do wired Apple CarPlay Android Auto, all right? So that's something to consider. Big volume now, the ergonomics are good in here. Now, I've also been driving a Ford Maverick this week, Ford Maverick hybrid, speaking of another hybrid pickup truck. I feel way more claustrophobic in here. Everything just feels really tight. The windows are smaller, the visibility is less than a tiny Ford Maverick. I do have, speaking of the windows, I do have acoustic glass. We'll talk about how that may or may not affect wind noise here once we take it on the highway. For a $70,000 pickup truck, around thereabouts, we don't have a head-up display, which is kind of surprising. We do have the big fancy JBL, you know, portable Bluetooth speaker, but I guess that's cool. And I think you can sync these with other JBL speakers. I think the technology is amazing. I just don't know if I would ever use it. I have so many portable Bluetooth speakers as it is. Just rearview mirror, beautiful bay behind us. So that's cool. You guys might want to see the 360 camera. I mean, the tech in this truck is incredible. Predictive parking too. All right, there's someone walking their dog back there. Yes, it's a big black poodle. So let's go and put it into park. We have volume knob, like I said, right off the shifter, the TRD Pro shifter, TRD badged steering wheel, heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated seats. I want to say the ventilated seats are fairly loud, but I do like, yeah, it sounds like a loud vacuum cleaner. And it's still pretty loud even at the one fan speed here. All right, climate control, super simple. I like the digital gauges inside of here, the switches for other, like for example, if I want to put on recirculation, manual fan control, it's right, oh guys, it's just right off the shifter. It's fantastic. Wireless control, sorry, wireless charger, auto brake hold. Let's go and put, seat buckle must be on for me to enable auto brake hold. That's a bit silly. All right, here's your tow mode, your drive modes, downhill ascent control. How you get into like 4 high, for example, is you press this silver button and you twist. Okay, 4 high, 4 low. All right, I'm gonna be driving in 2 high today. Just driving on the streets. Okay, different drive modes. You get cool animations, eco, normal, sport, multi-train select, which you can do in 4 high, which I believe is new on this new Toyota F platform, to do multi-train select and 4 high. Okay, it's telling me I need to be in 4 high for multi-train select, so I went ahead and did that. You can see it's blinking here. I might have to drive it a bit for it to lock into 4 high. There's 4 high. Let's go in reverse. Here's your multi-train select options. Oops. So you press the button and then you use the rotary dial to go through the different modes here. All right, but we're just gonna put it back into 2 high. Underneath the armrest, a nice little pad in there. Do I have a sunglasses holder? Hallelujah, a nice pad in there as well. And I'm probably gonna move this seat. Oh yeah, by the way, since these seats have this IsoDynamic backing, or should I say feature to them, only the bottom and the lumbar is motorized. A nice TRD logo there. And then the vertical cushion is manual. Okay, so you kind of have to pull that back, and then there you go. That is power for forward and up, down is power. Forward and back is power, but the cushion is manual. All right, so hopefully that made sense for you guys. But I want to start driving the incredible TRD Pro Tacoma on the road. Let's get to it. All right, put it into drive. Yeah, we're not going to play with the rear differential lock or the sway bar disconnect. That's, you know, for that off-roading stuff. You're not going to be messing with those in your driving. All right, and unlike most Toyota hybrids, this thing tries everything it can to be a truck. You feel the vibes, you feel the low tones that you expect from a truck, even though this has a small 2.4 turbo 4-cylinder. All right, but a hybrid, you hear the turbo, it's loud in here. It sounds pretty good though. I don't know how much of that sound is artificial, but I'm happy with the masculinity this truck has. I wish you could turn it off. It always kind of feels like it's in sport mode though. All right, I wish you could kind of have a silent mode where it maybe kill some of that pumped in engine noise. I'm assuming some of it's pumped in, because most 4-cylinders don't sound like that. They don't sound that brawny. All right, but the turbo does sound great in here, and I'll never get sick of hearing that turbo whistle. However, it doesn't sound nearly as cool as a turbo and snorkel that you get in the Trail Hunter. So watch my Trail Hunter driving impressions, and I'll be straight up honest with you guys. If I'm spending this much money on a TRD Pro or a Trail Hunter, and you're trying to decide which one, well, if you like snorkels and you like the additional noise of a turbo in the snorkel, get that vehicle. All right. Also, I feel like the ride quality is a little bit better on the Trail Hunter with the Old Man Emu shocks. This is a little bit firm for driving in town, the TRD Pro. I know you can adjust the shocks, but I'm not going to manually adjust them. It's not as simple as just turning a knob. It's not a Lexus. I really wish Toyota offered these seats as just normal seats, or give us not normal seats, but not with the suspension built into the seat, for maybe cost $1,000 less or something, and just get normal seats in here, because then I could actually use the back seat. I've been hardly driving this truck this week because I can't fit more than one kid in the back seat. Really, it's really frustrating. So I've just been driving the Ford Maverick this week and getting 42 miles per gallon. Fuel economy on this. Don't get this truck if you think it's going to save you in gas. This is, well, obviously you don't really care about gas if you're spending on the TRD Pro. You have 70K to burn on a truck. I'm getting about 16, 17 miles per gallon in town on this truck. And we'll see what it reads us out once we get on the highway. It's not going to be much better, I promise you, especially with the lift on here, these big tires. You can still get the hybrid on other trim levels like the Limited and TRD Off-Road, but let's go and get into the throttle. Oh shoot, I just did a burnout. That's the torque though. The torque is real. I almost swung my butt end out there. I wasn't even that hard into the pedal, but you have 465 pound-feet of torque. You could absolutely drift the TRD Pro no problem. The seats are on the firmer end. Comfort is fine. The elbows sink nicely into the armrests. Like I mentioned, the visibility is not quite as good compared to the other truck I've been driving this week, which is the Maverick. The brakes here are actually really impressive. Sometimes on hybrids they can be a bit unpredictable. That's not the case with these TNGA F platform hybrid brakes for Toyota. Super easy to bring this vehicle to a stop and to do it reliably and safely. I just realized I forgot to mention that I have aluminum pedals here on the TRD Pro. Like I mentioned, it's hard to get in this truck because you sit up super high, but this truck sits very, very high. I'm seeing a Ram 2500 up there, and it looks like I'm sitting just as high as that truck. Now, one of the benefits of the hybrid is I'm just sitting here, the engine's off, so you're not getting any vibrations, and then the engine kicked on at 5 miles an hour. All right, so it's nothing like the Maverick hybrid that I've also been driving this week. I got that up to 46 miles an hour before the engine turned on. One instance, this will go maybe 10 miles an hour if you're lucky, if you're facing downhill too. So it's not an efficiency hybrid. It's not going to save you gas. In fact, it adds weight to the truck. You reduce your towing capacity because of the added weight here, but what you get is better performance. Pedal down and it goes. All right, it's a torque monster, and if you're doing a lot of off-roading, torque is what you want. Torque is king off-road. And Toyota doesn't pretend that this is an efficient pickup truck, because they, unlike all of their other hybrids on the car end and crossover end, they have a little EV icon to let you know your vehicle's driving in fully electric. They don't have that here. Instead, how you know this is driving in fully electric, well, your tachometer disappears, which I think is kind of cool. There's a new Prius right there, right? So the tachometer disappears. That's how you know the engine is off, if you can't feel it or hear it being on. All right, and I also like the fact that they give you this, iForce Max power gauge, which shows you how much the electric motor's chipping in. And they also show you how many bars of battery charge you have. I like geeking out over that stuff. That Maverick that I drove this week, super efficient, small pickup truck, right? But Ford doesn't build in a battery gauge to let you know how charged your battery is. So I kind of nerd out that Toyota has kept that battery gauge here with the Hybrid Max readout. I do get a little rattle in the passenger seat here. Just keep that in mind. This truck has less than 500 miles on it, and maybe that's just how these, I don't think, if someone sat in it, I don't think it would rattle because I'm putting some pressure on and the rattle goes away. But that's something to keep in mind as well with these seats. Another reason I would be going with the Trail Hunter for this much cash. All right, these seats for all sorts of different reasons, they don't do it for me. If you're doing desert running, I get it. I get it. These seats are amazing if you're off-roading fast and pushing this truck to its limits. But for just street riding, these seats are, it's like bringing a bazooka to a knife fight. All right, well, I got up to 62 with not even knowing it. So like this truck with its torque, it's gonna accelerate no problem. Pedal down, it downshifts and goes quite well. Let's talk about the sound here on the freeway. You know, even with these big 33s, I'm not getting the tire noise that I was expecting. Like, that's incredible. Maybe it's because I'm lifted and these tires just are designed to not be very noisy and loud tires. I know some people like when they put aftermarket tires on their trucks, they like them to be as loud as possible. I think that's, well, do what you think you need to do to make you happy, right? I put loud exhaust on my motorcycle so I can't talk. Blind spot monitor works great in here. No major wind buffeting, guys. So the acoustic glass is doing a good job in here, keeping it quite quiet. Like, I don't feel like I'm raising my voice any more than I was when I was in town, and I'm doing 70. So also, I like how firm the truck feels out here on the highway. Even though I'm sitting up high, I feel rock solid. The wind isn't pushing me around. Yeah, good command of the road. Really, really good highway truck here. What does it say my fuel economy is? Well, let's lock our radar cruise control in right there at 73. And let's get steady state. It's hard because traffic's slowing, so it's hard for me to go steady state here. But let's adjust. Okay, I'm already at the lowest distancing behind this old Accord. And so a 63, that's not really indicative of what the fuel economy is going to be, but it's telling me I'm getting like 30 miles a gallon at 62 miles an hour. But yeah, all traffic's getting backed up at this point. It's a morning commute, right? It's 9 o'clock. We're on the interstate. You know, that's just the way it is. But I would say if you're under 65 miles an hour, you might be getting 30 miles per gallon on the freeway. That's incredible. But once you get over to 70, it's probably going to be 25 miles per gallon and less. All right, that's just a quick estimation, but yeah, mild highway speeds, 55 to 65. You're probably going to be around 30 miles per gallon, even with these big tires and the lift on here. So yeah, pretty impressive. You know, I enjoy driving this truck more on the highway than I do in town. Maybe it's because I feel like I can just see a lot on the freeway. It's really quiet in here on the freeway for a pickup truck. I have all the passing power I can need, and I actually can run its legs a little bit on the freeway compared to in town. Great torque passing power. This truck can eat a lot of miles with my butt in the seat. All right, so let's head back in the office. Let's see what kind of deals are to be had on the TRD Pro Tacoma and other Tacomas in my area. And let's put it on the spreadsheet. How does it stack up? Man, there's not a lot of TRD Pro Tacomas within 150 miles of where I live. 67 grand, 70 grand, 72 grand. Really within 150 miles, there are only 4 models. I just want to give you guys an idea of the trims or just how many Tacoma hybrids are available within my vicinity. Look, Toyota knows that people want the Trail Hunter more than the TRD Pro, at least in my area. There's a 5-to-1 ratio of Trail Hunters over the TRD Pro. Like, there would be no choice for me. If I was spending this much money on a truck, I'd be getting the Trail Hunter. It's more comfortable. The seats give you more space for the actual rear passengers. It's not great still in the normal Tacoma with normal seats, but it's actually usable. The TRD Pro is really, really for people who don't take people in the back seat and are doing off-roading. And so it's just a really small niche, or you just want to have, you have so much money, you never put people in the back seat, and you just care about how it looks. I guess it looks amazing. I think the ZR2 Bison looks better because it has a 35-inch tires, if I remember right. It's a better looking truck. This is a better truck to drive though than the Bison. Also, look just how few hybrids there are. It looks like people who are wanting hybrids, at least how they're equipping it in the Southeast region, the Trail Hunter has more available stock than the Limited, the TRD Off-Road, and the TRD Sport Hybrid. They're just too expensive, these Tacoma hybrids. They're just so expensive. All right, so what does it look like if we look at normal Tacomas in my area? I'm going to take off TRD Pro here. Guys, look, there are 1,800 plus available Tacoma non-hybrids and only 36 hybrids. That lets you know people don't care about Toyota's hybrid on this truck. It's too expensive. It's too out of reach for the average person. There's only 36, and 20 of them, guys, are the Trail Hunter. The Tacoma has 1,800 units available in my area with the standard 275 horsepower, 317 pound-feet of torque, 2.4 turbo. All right, my suggestion on this truck, guys, look at this. See if you can snap up a heavily discounted SR5. You know, the SR5 is my recommended trim on its platform stablemate, the new 4Runner. I love that vehicle. And in fact, if you're torn between a 4Runner and a Tacoma, it would be a 4Runner for me every day of the week. I know it costs a little bit more because you're not going to, well, more than likely you're not going to see discounts on the 4Runner. It just came out. But you're seeing, guys, $4,000 discounts here, $5,000 discounts here off of MSRP. If you're paying MSRP for a Tacoma right now, unless it's a specialty model like the Trail Hunter or something, but if you're paying MSRP or above on a Tacoma, you are getting had. All right. The going MSRP right now is about $4,000 off of MSRP on average from what I'm seeing. And this is a good buy. So let's move on to the spreadsheet. The TRD Pro, where it's at, and how does it compare to other vehicles? TRD Pro, it's tough because it's an on-road vehicle designed for off-road. Yes, it has so much luxury in it, so much electronics for on-roading. I get it. All right. It's way better than the Hummer SUV, so it's not a get-me-out-of-here sort of vehicle. It's not a good buy or an excellent purchase. I should say it's not an excellent purchase, and it's nowhere close to the take my money where the 4Runner SR5 is, okay? And so I have to, here's the thing, I have to review this truck in the trim level that I have it. If I had a Tacoma SR5, it more than likely would end up in the A grade with the $4,000 off of MSRP, around $35,000. All right, you can get a Tacoma non-TRD Pro, just a Tacoma SR5 would be a good buy, an excellent purchase, I should say. Is it a solid buy at over $65,000, or is it fire sale only? I think it's a solid buy, and it's a terrible buy for me. But I have to remember the people buying this truck are not me. They don't have a bunch of kids. They don't need it for hauling people in the back, more than likely. If you're interested in a TRD Pro Tacoma is a very specialized truck. All right. And as a specialized truck, it is a very good buy. I think it's a bad buy, a really bad buy for me personally, because I don't do a lot of off-roading. If I'm doing off-roading, I'd rather be on 2 wheels than 4 wheels most of the time. So I'm just going to I'll put it below here. Okay, that's the thing. It's compromised for a usable backseat. It's essentially an air-conditioned trunk, and it's a 2-seater truck that is designed for off-roading. It's a good buy if you're buying it for off-roading, and if you just love the looks of it, like the big tires. I know, but like, here's the thing. The Trail Hunters, you know, I know the snorkel's not for everyone, but it's so much more of an enjoyable daily driver. The suspension's softer. The seats, like for some reason, the TRD Pro Tacoma, maybe it's how the seats are set up, but like the seats just like, it feels like I have a vibrating seat on the whole time because I'm just being shook. I've been shaken. I'm shook right now from the seats. They just kind of like rattle. They don't, well, the passenger rattles unless somebody's sitting in it, but they just kind of like vibrate all the time. All the stuff coming from the road, which there isn't much. I have really good roads in my area, but the seat is constantly just peppering your back, shaking you. Like it has built-in massaging seats without the kneading function. I really wish Toyota, here's the thing, this is what gets me a little fired up. Toyota, if you're listening, sometimes you are, sometimes you're not, and that's okay. If you're listening, if you made it this far into the video, just like you sent me the 4Runner SR5 for review as a press vehicle, and I gave it an S tier buy, all right? I would not give the 4Runner upper trims like the TRD Pro and S tier buy, all right? It's just too expensive. And Toyota, if you're listening, same thing with a 4Runner. Give us an SR5 for the press fleet. Guys, nobody's buying a TRD Pro Tacoma. Nobody. Yes, it's amazing on engineering. Yes, it's super cool. It's cool. The cool factor is like a 10. But nobody's buying it. And in fact, people are buying the Trail Hunter over the TRD Pro seemingly. Why can't you just send us the one people are buying the most, which is the SR5? Again, let me go back. The trim levels available on the Tacoma. We have 900 in my area, 940 SR5 Tacomas. All right. If you need to do off-roading and you like to customize, you can still do an SR5 4x4, but you can also do it. It'll be a little bit better with the TRD off-road, right? It has better suspension. And then there's a lot of TRD sports as well, but the SR5 is where it needs to be. The SR is more of like a work truck grade. And here's my last thing here. More than likely, if I got a Tacoma SR5, all right, in for review, it would end up as A grade because I have driven an SR5. It's been a couple of years. It wasn't as satisfying to drive as the 4Runner SR5. It's probably A grade. Here's the thing. I've driven the Frontier, Nissan Frontier with the V6. That's an S grade. Guys, that's S grade. The Tacoma still, for me, is not as good of a pickup truck as a Nissan Frontier, which you can get big discounts on that, and you have a 310 horsepower fat V6 in there and a much better ride quality than what I just drove today. And you have a old school hydraulic steering. It feels like an old school pickup truck. The new Tacoma, it's capable on and off-road, but it doesn't feel as quality as a Frontier. Here's the thing. If you have a current Tacoma, the new Tacoma is better. I know it doesn't have the V6, but it drives so much better. The tech is so much better. It's a better truck. Again, reliability, we don't know yet. It's too early. This truck's only been around. The Tacoma been around for a couple of years. I'd be picking the bulletproof V6 and the Frontier with the 9-speed auto in a very affordable package. That is the Nissan Frontier. That's a better buy. It's S tier buy. Hopefully I can review one this year and put it on the list of 2025 cars I have reviewed so far. TRD Pro Tacoma, it's a good buy for somebody out there. It's kind of like, for me, it would never work. It would have to be like a fire sale. And even then, it just doesn't make any sense for me since with kids. Anyways, shut it down there. It's a good buy for someone out there with how capable it is and who's going to be driving it off-road, desert running, doing crazy off-roading stuff. It's a good buy for that. Other than that, it's not, as you guys see how Toyota's allocating volume, there's just hardly any. There's 4 in my area when you have 940 SR5 non-hybrids. So get the SR5 or like TRD off-road Tacoma and just call it a day. Don't feel like you're missing out on the TRD Pro. All right. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more Toyota news and reviews. I got a lot of stuff coming down the channel the next month. Huge month next month for Toyota. Make sure you're locked in. Tons of new reveals. I'll have new media drives. I'll be driving cars for the first time as well, bringing you new special editions, all that stuff. Cannot wait to bring it to you. Stay tuned. It's going to be Toyota Madness in about a month from now. So make sure you're subscribed, hit the bell icon. You don't want to miss that coverage. Have a great day. Thank you guys. Peace out.